welcome to yet another episode of The Flow. I am your host, Katie Fawkes, along with my amazing co-host.
It's me, Doc.
We're changing it up today because Doc, in addition to being the co-host, is also our special guest. And so we're really excited to welcome him as a guest and to also bring on our friend Marielou Mandel so that we can talk all about their new podcast, Creators Unstuck. Welcome to the show.
Yo.
Wow, it's such Inception.
I know. It's a little bit of a weird episode. It's a weird episode. Feels weird for all of us. No, it'll be.
They used to have a name
episode
for it on the show. What would they call it? It's the multiverse. Yeah, that's the multiverse. We're doing the multiverse.
It's a crossover. It's a crossover.
Yeah,
the flow.
It's like the Avengers.
Crossover show. Well, especially because technically right after this is when we would be recording. So it's almost as long. It's like those shows on NBC where they put like Law and Order, then Law and Order SVU, and then the Fire Chicago thing, and then the Chicago Hospital all together. Today is like that for Lou and I.
It's some heavy programming, but I'm so ready for it because that's what we're about.
Right? We go from the flow to recording Creators Unstuck to watching Marilou's CapCut class on her channel. So today is going to be, you're just locked here on DMK. This new TV show, DMK.
Yeah, all day with DMK. Oh my goodness, we need to have like a marathon episode. All right, well, we're gonna jump right in. First question for Marielou: how did this all get started? Why and how did you end up with Doc as a co-host?
Well, I think if we go really, really historically, we sometimes would be butting heads, but in like the best way, because I think we would feel the same way, but the explanation maybe was different. So I was like, he's right, but these people aren't necessarily getting it because he's speaking so like professionally that it's correct, but like they need a translator, right? We need a translator. Are you coming after me? Are you hitting some weapons over there? What's going on?
No, I'm trying to pretend like I'm not getting lambasted over here, so I'm just gonna clean my lens and mind my business.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah, clean your lens and mind your business. We'll talk about you.
What I'm saying is that he knows what he's talking about, right? And I like saw that, and I respect that, and I get that, and I was like, these people need this information, but how do we translate it in a way that they understand? So then we just started to like chat more and hang out more, and then he was on my live stream. It was helping me with audio stuff, and I was like, I want to learn audio, and he's like, let's go to NAB, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm down with that. And then we're besties. So we were talking about something. I was like, we both agree and feel very strongly about what can help creators move forward. We should be sharing these things we're yelling about in the rental car to people. You know, like we were just like going around and in the rent, like wherever we were, we're like, yes, totally. So should be this. And then it was like, let's make a podcast. But how many times with a friend you're like, yeah, let's make a podcast. And I would say like in real world, the percentage is 0. But like in Ecamm world, right? In our creator world, like it's
pretty high.
Possible it's going to happen because we're already built to do this. So we chatted and we're like, yeah, let's make it happen. And then on his live stream, we were doing the brainstorm. We did all of the brainstorm live. Like, I absolutely love it. So I hope you, Doc, don't take any of that as being like an attack. That's like a full, like complete respect of your knowledge and your experience because like, game recognizes game. Like I was like, he knows what he's talking about. I want these people to also know what he's talking about.
Katie, you know what I would liken it to? It's like if Marielou was a Popeye chicken sandwich, I'm the extra spicy one. Mm-hmm. Or if Marielou was like a good, healthy, like Impossible burger with like vegan bread, cheese, and lettuce, and I was a triple dipple baconator with like all kind of extra mayonnaise, extra cheese, extra heart clogging. So yeah, it seems the same, but they're just different.
No, I think I see so much of what you just said, Marielou, in why we hired Doc to start off with and why we decided to do this show, because I do think that it's, and I know you and I have talked about this a lot, it's difficult, I think, particularly for women in technology and certainly women in the kind of the streaming and the podcasting space, because there's a lot of I don't know. I hesitate to use the word feelings.
Mansplaining. It's the truth.
No, close your ears, not your eyes. But I do think that, like, I think it's nice that someone who has a background like you do, where you've been so intentional about making this space feel more approachable and friendly and kind of demystifying the complication and the tech side of it, that I think it's really great that the intention that went into this show was like, I'm going to partner with someone who has this, like, I mean, Doc, you have this incredible background in all of it. And so getting to like see it through the lens of Mariellou's, like, we're going to make this easy and friendly and approachable and safe space. And from that kind of lens of understanding, particularly what women go through, I think it's a really great pairing. So I'm so excited that you did this. I love that you both did this publicly. And I know that, like, this is just what live streamers and content creators do, but I think that there's a lot that's there in that. So I hope that all of you who are watching or listening live or later when the full episode drops, that you will go back to the first initial episodes of Creators Unstuck, because I think that there's something really magical about just making a decision to do something and then putting it out there in a way that's not perfect. And I know you've been on this mission to talk about like anti-perfection. So I think that's really genius. And I hope everyone takes advantage of that. But I also know, Doc, you are a total perfectionist because you and I are Team Virgo. So how do you balance that? You have a ton going on. You have a ton of, shows and content and a membership and your full-time stuff at Ecamm. So as you are thinking about this show, how do you set that intention but commit to being consistent with it? It's another project, another huge amount of time.
You know what? It's really weird. I want to say something that's going to sound super crazy, but I stopped measuring time a couple of years back. And no, seriously, I know it sounds it sounds crazy and it makes people laugh. But the thing that freaks everybody else is they hear something's going to happen and immediately go to how long is it going to take. I really just don't do this. I just say to myself, like, how can we get it done? I do understand that time is moving, right? But a couple years back, I had a near-death experience. I had a stroke, nearly died. I spent a lot of time in the hospital. And after that, I was like, I'm not wasting much more of this time. But instead of counting it, I decided to just let it be. And I can't control that. Right. So my community knows I have this very strange acronym called WWIC-FEE, worry about what I control and F everything else. And that is legit it. I don't stress about anything that I can't control. So when it came time to doing this show, I asked Marielou, does she mind us like just doing it in public? And she was like, absolutely. I mean, like build the show notes and the whole 9 yards. And I can't type. So I'm going to just talk and you're going to have to type. And she was like, whatevs, right? So we built the Notion doc in public. We built the branding. We came up with the show flow, no pun intended. Hey, we did all of that stuff in public so you could watch the process, because Marielou said something that was very valuable to me back when we were sort of at our creator house at NAB. And that's like, people are always talking about how easy it is to do X, Y, and Z, but no one's ever really showing anybody how it's done. So it almost comes off as a lie. Because when they try to do it with not knowing what first step to take, like if I told you we're going to bake cookies, like, what is the first step? And then people are going to be like, oh, well, you're going to mix the ingredients in the bowl. And no, the first step is some damn flour, homie. Actually, the first step is wash your hands. Nasty. So like, it was easy for me because of my experience to forget those steps. And Marielou is like, no, player, hold up. Explain this. What do you mean explain this? You just do it. She goes, no, Doc. No, on the paper. So it's been helpful to me, even at Ecamm, to learn that the things that I do automatically are not automatic to muggles. Sorry, I don't mean to call y'all muggles, but, I took long years to be this wizardry. So it's easy to forget. And so Marielou helps control that part of me. And I think it's making me a better creator.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's I love.
Oh, because she said what you've been saying for the last 3 years. Easy case.
I have a
There's no
sidekick. I feel
employee
like
reviews in public. Okay, employee reviews are still quiet.
Yeah. Marielou is my co-host. You're just along for the ride. I want to talk a little bit about. So you mentioned a little bit in there that you have Notion and and I know you've built out this really cool process and show flow. So Marielou, do you want to talk through like what the planning and the production of each episode looks like from a logistical standpoint, I guess, for lack of a better word?
It's so exciting because I think neither of us were really knowledgeable in Notion. Like, we're both still learning Notion, but Kat was with us also on this NAB trip, and she's like Notion queen, and we're like, we got to do it, right? Because we're adults, we can do hard things, and also we like the challenge of learning something new, and it was a really good collaborative tool. Yeah. Because I've seen where it can go, but when we started, I was like, I have no idea how to make these drop-down menus or these charts, we were working with it basically like a Word document at first. Now it's starting to get refined. Now we're starting to add extra pages. Now we're starting to be able to do different things, but it was because we did it along with building the show. So you're learning it in a practical way, because a lot of times you can't learn something until you actually like put your hands on it. So using the Notion document and the fact that we can both have it open, Doc is running the live stream from his studio in Hawaii, and I am in Southern California. I have the Notion open as well. He can talk. He can work on making the show happen. He can share the screen. I can be typing. He can be talking. I'm very quick at like deciphering what is being said and putting it into some kind of a sentence, right? And then we can just collaborate that way. And so now that we have that base built, when we film the show on Doc's live stream, like, it is so fun and it's so exciting and it's so close to what might be a real studio scenario, because it's like, okay, we both get to the newsroom, we both have it, we are like, what's our topic today? This is what we're going to cover, this news story, this news story, this news story. Then we go through, fill out the template that we have for each episode. And now we have like, it just every week it gets better. So we get on the live stream, we're like, okay, here's our list of topics, but was anything like on your heart this week, right? Did anything come up that you felt strongly about? And usually there is, right? Because we're like texting each other like all week and it's like, this thing happened, right? So then, and even at some point it's like, I'm like, I need to get unstuck, right? So I'm like, here's what I'm feeling. So here's what like the topic that we can address. And then taking that into our template for the episode, we find our title options, our hook options, our points and things like that. So while we're talking it through, and it's a lot of like kind of a pre-interview of like, well, what is your opinion on this? Like, where would you like the lesson to go? I'm listening to Doc. We're discussing it. I'm putting some stuff into Chat GPT because Doc built us a Creators Unstuck Chat GPT that is programmed with our voices. Like, it is so cool, you guys. It's so cool because I ask it stuff and it knows. It's like Marielou will say something like this and Doc would say something like this. I asked it to do a bio of us and it was so correct, except for it didn't know the timeline for certain things, but it knew all the information.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, I just was like, actually it's this much. And then he's like, okay, cool. Got it. No problem. It's like our production assistant.
Yeah, we used it to fill out our applications to speak at 2 conferences coming up, because we wanted, instead of just me speaking on the stage like a dummy, I ain't stupid, bring hot girl with you. We want to do the flow live in public because we got to do it with Maria at Ecamm. And it was the most incredible thing. And like, we kind of looked at each other and we kind of walked away from that after giving Mary high fives and hugs. I was like, yo, that felt good. We should just go to all these conferences and just post up and do like, remember Lucy on Charlie Brown when she had the little house with Snoopy on the top?
Yeah, the doctor is in.
It's like, we just have doctors in, just come through and get unstuck. I wanted to mention something really, really quickly that I don't want to go missed in this historical episode. One of the reasons that also prompted the show is I watched my dear friend get dissed at NAB, and I kind of wanted to physically harm somebody, and it upset me. I know it upset her more, but it affected me physically. I grew up with all females. I'm the only boy in the house of 7 women. I am very protective of my mom and my sisters, and I was the baby until Carmen came along and ruined it for me, you little shit. Anyway, my little sister came when I was 17, so like she ruined my position as the baby of the house. But she went to go ask a vendor a question, and he kind of just like sidewinded her and mansplained her. And by the time I caught wind of it, Kat and Eden and Marielou were like, no, just let it go. And I was like, I'll go take this fool out, you know. But it sort of let me see that creators get so wrapped up in their creator, like I'm all of a sudden a Hollywood star, that they forget where they came from. And then also that we lack representation still. And so I thought we could kind of knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. We can make people feel better about being a creator no matter where you're getting in. And then we would never do to anybody else what happened to Marielou.
Yeah, it's so incredibly,
it's my sinuses that make my eyes
important.
water, people. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah.
Well, I am so sorry that happened to you, and I know it happens to lots of people. Certainly women, certainly minorities. So I'm horrified that it happened, but I'm thrilled that this show came out of it, and I hope that if you are, again, watching or listening to this, that you know that these kinds of shows are safe spaces for you to be able to ask those questions, understand that all of us get stuck at any point in this journey, right? Like people, you know, who are brand new to it get stuck. People who have been doing it as long as Doc has still get stuck and ask questions and need to talk things through. None of us know all of it. So I'm thrilled that this came out of that. And I love that Doc was there to be like outraged and angry, because I do think that helps. I hope it helped, Marielou, because I definitely...
I mean, you know, Katie, I've
so
seen it happen to you, and we're sponsoring an event, and I've seen some... I'm like, fool, you standing in front of our sign. You were standing in front of our sign that we paid a mention crap ton for you to say something so sideways. They almost make me want to knock you out. I'm a nice man. Yeah, I'm a nice person.
And I don't think you guys realize like how much Doc is a champion for all creators of all types, like including the underrepresented. Like he brought me along to a brand event as his +1 that I was like so excited to go to. And we get in there, and I am the only woman outside of somebody who works there. And then I look around, and Doc and I are the only people of color, which is like, okay, we see those kind of things, and we're like, you know what? We really need to be more aggressive in showing up. Like, we need to show up, and we need to show up loud. And I am personally very driven by vengeance. So when people cross me, I take it as like fuel. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
You're like, okay, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to be even bigger and even better and even more in your face about it all, which is, again, incredible. I think it's too, like, going back to what you were saying when you were talking about the process and how you structure the show. I think it's really important for everyone to hear this. And I know that we've been on a mission, even at Ecamm, to do this, where there are tools and tech and pieces of gear and things out there that we all know we need to be better at. There are things that we are using for our shows or for our day-to-day work. We know we need to be better at it. And the only way to do it is to just do it, is to just go through and commit to assigning that tool a project that you're working on. So I love that you were both like, oh, Kat, who we know, love, and trust, like recommends this tool, swears by it. It has a ton of potential. Let's just use that as our tool, and we will learn how to be better at it by the sheer act of doing it, because we've tied it to a project that's really important to us. And that's honestly like one of the best ways that you can learn any of these tools, whether it's Ecamm or Notion or a new camera or your phone. It's tying it to like something that matters to you and just spending the time with that actual piece of tech. So again, like in the world of unsticking yourself, that's been like a huge aha moment for me. I'm always like, I'll get around to like training myself on how to do this. But the things I've learned really well, the things that are associated to this show, to my job and my day-to-day, to my personal podcast, to like making my studio space a better, more functional space to me. Like those are the things that I know inside and out because I force myself to do them. So I think that's really great. And again, I love that you're doing it publicly. I think it really makes a big difference. So congrats on that.
And when we were trying to figure out what the direction of it could be, because it could be technical, right? It could have been, there's a lot of different ways it could have gone, but there's technical videos out there. Like people need a tutorial. Like they know they can ask like any of us, you'll get directions on how to do that. But what's something that was really not being said in a structured, consistent way? And when, you know, we crowdsource, we're like, what is coming up for you guys in the chat? What's coming up in the community? And the name Creators Unstuck came from Keely. You know, because we were getting their questions and they're like, it's this, it's that. And like imposter syndrome comes up over and over and over. And, you know, we feel very strongly about that concept. And it's like, okay, so if something like imposter syndrome is getting people stuck, insecurities, maybe it's technical, but then like, you know, there's an answer to that too. So this direction of essentially it's creator therapy, like that was like an alt version was creator therapy, but instead of bringing people on, we're just taking concepts. But when we do our live shows in person, it will be creator therapy. So be ready to book yourself an appointment.
Yes. Yes.
I'm now super excited for next year. I'll book myself some appointments. I love it.
Man, you know, Katie, Diana kind of sort of just, you know, what Diana does, barged her way into being the first guest. But I would love to have you on as a guest. And even if we could figure out the timing, because we don't always I mean, I would do it live, but we don't have to do it on my Tuesday. I would love to do it with you and Nat together just because, I mean, you guys are just having a lot of fun. But I know even in the process of having fun, you have to run into brick walls.
Oh gosh, all the time.
Too.
Yeah.
And I want to cover something really quickly.
Everyone knows I'm constantly running into brick walls, just so everyone knows. Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, so I want to cover something really quickly because I want people to hear this really, really well. Saeed asked a question in the chat, like how much do we time spend planning, prep, post, and editing on a single episode? And when I say we do it live, we do it live. We do the live planning live on camera because I don't want anyone to have any excuse as to why they can't do this. Okay, I see you guys recording and you guys look all cute and whatever, but like it must be hard to do the pre-plan. No, it ain't, because you watched us do it. And this is so funny. I want you to hold this close to your vest. Our 3 best episodes out of the 11 that we've shot so far were the ones where we opened up the Notion document and be like, what are we talking about today, Lou? I don't know. What you got, Doc? I don't know. All right, let's just brainstorm this real quick. And then we're like, blah, blah, blah. And then those shows turn out to be the fire one. Because it even I want people to hear this. There are days, even for the flow, where we pop up on like Monday and be like, what are we going to talk about tomorrow? We know we have this giant list, but maybe we're not feeling that list. We have a giant list. And that list is at the bottom of the document, which you can see publicly on screen. But we sometimes want to do something topical, right? So Marielou will be like, yo, this is on my mind this go around. Let's talk about this. Or I'll say, this is on my mind right now. Let's talk about that. But there's also times where we have absolutely Nathan and we sit there and we actually brainstorm live so that every human being can see how a show is made. There's no part of the sausage, which is trichloral nitro duncanate. It's all real. This is 100% organic, natural sausage or vegan sausage for those Yolandas.
It's so true though, because I feel like that's one of those things that people. It is a sticking point. It is, you know, in the under the branding of Creators Unstuck, it is the thing that I think gets especially perfectionists and the Virgos in the room. It's the thing where you're like, okay, but I need to have a plan and I need to have, you know, a workflow and a level of, in order to stay consistent, I need to have these things. But you really don't. And I say that as a planner, like you really don't. Or you could have all of that, but you still need to be able to have some level of flexibility to do what's best for your audience and to do what's best for yourself and your show and your content. So I struggled with that a ton when I was working on the kind of the beginning episodes of the VHS Club, because we were like, well, we have this big movie list, you know, we're going to work our way through the movies, and, you know, we want to do like ones that are timed up to the release of, you know, of sequels or of, you know, similar content.
Ones
movies
that Val actually watched.
Or ones that Val actually, but that's what I'm about to say. But the end magic came from exactly what you just said, that spending time in front of your audience and hearing what are the things that they want you to talk about should at least to some level like dictate what your episodes and what your content are. We found for our show that we have this banter at the end of every episode where we're like, all right, what next? And people throw ideas out into the chat that are important to them. Many times those are the people who want to be guests on the show. So having that flexibility to say, oh, okay, like, you know, we had thought we would do this episode next, but you know what? Let's put this one in front of it because this is what our audience wants. Or, you know, or we had no idea. And so then we're able to just plan it out and build it that way. The value and the level of content is much higher. Exactly what you just said, Doc. Like the spending time and being vulnerable and kind of building it and planning it as you go makes people feel like they're a part of it. They can contribute and they can actually change the scope of what the show looks like. So
I mean, even for us, Flofa last week, or we actually recorded it 2 weeks ago. Flofa was one of the best episodes. Ago, And that was one that we just kind of had to stick together because we were post-camp and both of us were like, look, I need a large drink. I mean, a massive
to sit down on the Flofa. We need to be on the Flofa right now. Yeah.
We needed a large drink and them fish tacos from Newburyport. And it's like, I just want this week to be over. And then Glenn was like, y'all are in my office, get out. But that was a fantastic episode, and it didn't require a lot of planning. We just sat on the couch and just talked to the community. And I love those because I feel like we're just friends hanging out.
Yeah, I think it's really important. So Marielou, what are your so 11 episodes in, what are your favorite episodes or episode so far?
It's like the episodes are kind of nebulous to me because, and there's something like when you start getting into
all of them,
the topic of like getting creators unstuck, like we do end up repeating concepts, but that's important to do. And that's also something that's a lesson for creators is like, you got to be ready to repeat things because like we had done before camp a good handful of episodes, and then we get to camp and there's people who I know have seen it. We're still like, I have imposter syndrome. And, you know, and it's still there. So we have to keep talking about it. Like that is the point of conversations, right? So I love when we get to break down somebody's imposter syndrome like that. Like I hate that people have it, but like when it comes up, I'm like, give it to me. I will break it in half. And like this even happened in camp because now we're like, what you see with us on the show, like we're like this. If you cross us out in the world and you're like, you say something,
they really are.
It's going to be the same thing. Because it was at the end of one of the workshops, and I'm like packing up for the day and at camp, and Doc was like, "What's the word that we hate?" And I was like, "Which one?"
Doc has a list of like 55 or more. Imposter syndrome is already making him cringe. He's like, that's not a word. That's not a word. That's not a word.
But then like
it bothers me,
and it's always bothered me too because it's the syndrome thing, right? So somebody had imposter syndrome is what they were.
I was going to ask you, please take it apart for them because I get proud every time she says this. I just kind of chuckle a little bit.
Let's break it apart because I think we all have it. And I went to a recent event right before camp where there was an entire session on it, and it was highly impactful because no, it was incredibly impactful because there were people from all different levels, similar to Creator Camp, where all different levels, all different backgrounds, very expert people who were, in my mind, like much more experienced and like talented than I feel, right? And everyone raised their hand at one point or another, admitting that they have these feelings. So I think it is one of these things that you're constantly battling with. So I'm interested to hear your definition of it or your breakdown of it.
So imposter syndrome, right? It's gotten now a whole affliction identity thing that people have like kind of taken on as part of them. But okay, whatever it is, let's unstuck Katie right now. What do you feel like you're an imposter of?
Yeah, sure. I don't see it as I'm with you in that I don't see it under the words as it exists in. I have feelings of inadequacy in certain scenarios. So like even on this particular show, interviewing both of you or talking to both of you, I'm like, oh, am I the right person to be interviewing these two? During that event, I was speaking. So I was literally listened to her session on imposter syndrome right before I presented. And in my mind, I was like, I have no business speaking here. I'm not they keep calling me a video expert. And like, that's not my background. I've like learned that along the way. And then at the end of that talk, I'm like, well, this is dumb. Like I'm telling myself these stories and convincing myself that I'm not this person because I'm afraid I'm going to look dumb or someone's going to ask me a question that I can't answer, or it's all inadequacies. It's all tied up into like an inadequacy over, I don't know, probably like a fear of public speaking, which goes back to, and Docs and I have had this conversation a ton of times, like probably a childhood experience where I felt silly for one reason or another, or, you know, less than. And so I've now tied that to public speaking and to presenting and to being in these spaces. So
when people say imposter syndrome, it's like it's their whole identity. Moments of insecurity is I feel a better explanation for it is. But when you start to say that it's an imposter syndrome, then if you are truly sick and have a syndrome, you should go to the doctor. So using the word syndrome,
I 100% agree with that.
So then, like, if that's the word,
my same feeling with overwhelmed, right? You're adding too much weight to a word that belongs to really catastrophic things. We are over catastrophizing normal life simplicity, and then using those as excuses to stop doing the work, or using them as excuses to let somebody else hold us back, because what we really are is fear. But it's like, you know, when we go to camp and then John be like, say that to my face while he's standing behind me. Like I got my arm out and I'm holding John, and John is like, say that to my face. I come over there. I tell you what, you know what I mean? And it's like, easy, John, back up, right? That's the same thing. That's what that is like when you're able to take these words that people give you on the internet. You can use those as the person holding you while you tell the actual person that you kind of want to fight but can't. You tell them that you would knock them out while you're being held back. So yeah, and I do want to say, I like the way Marielou explains it so well, because it's different. And even here's the thing: people will say, well, the scientists, they studied it and this is what they came up with and whatever. And I'll be like, y'all remember Pluto? Because the cool I'm a science guy through and through. But the thing about science is we ask ourselves questions and keep asking it until we find a different answer. And science is about discovery. So sometimes you find out that the story, Paula Rosecrans, listen, lady, I love you, I respect you, but you were freaking wrong. All you did was put a name onto something that happens to little kids. They stand behind their mama and look out the leg until they're sure it's safe. And once that kid knows it's safe, you can't get them to shut up about dinosaurs.
Yeah. Paul has actually a really good a good quote here in the chat. He says, probably someone made you feel inadequate in the past. This is the voices in my head that I fight. Yeah, same. That's exactly it. So I think you're absolutely right, Marielou. I think it's mistitled, but the challenge that I have in this space, and then we should move to a different topic because we could be here all day talking about this, but is that if that's what everyone understands those feelings to be, then I think we need to still be using those words and breaking them down and correcting people and pointing out and getting to the root of what the actual like fear and inadequacy and feelings are behind that. But I think it's hard to completely avoid using those or be like incredibly dismissive of the people saying those, because they're saying them because they've identified with that in some way or another. So I think we do need to, the work that you're all doing is really important, because we do need to talk about these things and we need to break them down and we need to unstick ourselves and each other from these, because it's still the identifying word. Right. So overwhelmed is one, imposter syndrome is another. There's a bunch of them where that's how people say, like, they identify with that, but there's all different reasons as to why they're identifying with it, and it's not the same for
and that's
everyone.
why we
like my
take
inadequacies
those
are
words,
different than others,
right?
Yep.
We and it's like the words are there, right? That's why we address it in that way. But even like, okay, so syndrome, if you're sick, like you need to go to a doctor. That's where, like, if you really, really like that, like go to therapy for real. Because I think everybody should go to therapy, like real, actual therapy, not just creator therapy. And then imposter, when I hear imposter, I feel like you're intentionally pretending to be someone else. So why are you intentionally pretending that you're insecure, right? So like, I just like to break down like the facts, right? So it's like the creator we were talking to as like a crafter, and I, so she's like, I feel like I shouldn't be the one telling people this. And I was like, well, do you know what you're talking about when you talk about crafting? She's like, yeah. And I was like, and people will actually come to you to talk to them about crafting? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, then who are you pretending to be? Like, these are the truth. These are the facts, right? And like with you being a video expert, like how many videos have you made now?
Over 300 according to Paul.
So, like, is there more to learn? Always. Is there more to learn? But like, you can't hold on to who you were before you started doing videos when you didn't know videos, because there's like 16-year-olds who become rock stars because they just picked up a guitar. Like, we have life experience and we've done things, and we are layering that on top of it. So just because we haven't been doing something our entire lives does not mean you don't know what you're talking about, because you do.
And we marketing people also kind of ruined it, because in order to sell tickets, we often classify people as experts. Yeah. And then that makes them feel inadequate. But the reality of it is, a true expert never starts honing or never stops learning their craft, right? Yep. I always go to the sushi guys, and I talked about this to my community. Like, if you want to be a sushi chef, you will spend 5 years making the tamago. You don't get to cut a fish for the first 5 years. But you've been around the space long enough, and you've watched the master do his thing so many times, and you've prepped fish, that by the time you're able to actually cut a fish, you actually know what you're doing, right? So the first time that anybody who comes here has to go and do their show, they've watched us do it so many times, they actually know what they're doing. They just might not know they know what they're doing until they start doing it and realizing, like, you drive home from work and you were like busy in your head, and you get in the parking space and you're like, oh, thank goodness I didn't hit nothing because I wasn't paying attention to anything.
Yeah, you're an autopilot.
You're an autopilot. Your body knows what to do.
Yeah. Which is why I think it's really great that you have been doing this, this big push recently on recording ugly videos, because I do think, like, in this space, this is a really big stumbling block for a lot of people who, as you go online and you look at YouTube videos, or you're looking at people's podcasts or their shows and the content that they're creating, by and large, it's people who are in these like really beautiful studios, and they have like all these, incredibly well edited and well produced, the end result is really well edited and really well produced, right? But that doesn't mean that they started there. And it also doesn't mean that their content is better than something that you could create, right? So we're limiting ourselves, and we're allowing those voices to come in because of what we're seeing right now. And because this space is super visual, we can see what everyone else is doing at any given time. So I think it's really awesome, and also incredibly important to be doing ugly videos. And so if you're like, wait, it's like, what is this? Creators Unstuck has been sort of on a mission recently in just challenging people to just make the video ugly. Don't worry where you are. Don't worry whether you're using fancy software or fancy cameras or lighting or any of it. Focus on the content and get the content out, because the reps and the practice and the content are really what matters. And people will still respond as well to an ugly video as they will to a produced video, in many cases more so. So I think that's awesome. Yeah, Paul is saying I've seen people with fantastic studio setups make really crappy videos, right? Which is 100%. Absolutely true.
100%. So, and also as a challenge to myself with the whole ugly video situation, this is something that I get pushed into from Marielou. It wasn't really a push. I just watch her do it. Good. And I tell this story all the time. My buddy Brad and I are award-winning filmmakers. Brad has so many awards for the commercials and stuff he makes for Hawaiian Airlines. If you ever fly Hawaiian Airlines, you watch the Hawaiian Airlines movies on the back, not the ones from like Colombia, but the ones that are about Hawaii. Brad and I shot a whole bunch of those. And
awesome.
we were sitting at the house. I love this creator house, dude. We had so much fun.
So much fun.
Thank you, Katie, for letting us do that. We were watching Marielou make reels, and me and Brad are like, and Brad's over there assembling his red, okay? He has a little red. He's putting some stuff on the camera, and he's looking at his other camera that he has. And Marilou's just like rolling my stuff out of my bag across the table. And
Marilou's like, done, 150 videos created. All right, I'm going to the pool.
I'm like, what the heck is she doing? First of all, why is she in my bag? And she's like, I just went through your bag. I'm like, okay, stalker. And anyway, she made this reel in like that. And then we were like, yo, we would still be like pulling audio cables and trying to get the light right. And she just sat on the dining room table and cranked out a video that was absolutely epic. So now Brad and I were intrigued. And she's like, look, and I'm just going to edit it with CapCut. So she got her little iPad and her phone, and she like, it was like the Fruit Ninja. And then it was done. And then we were like, man, wait a minute. We spent way too much time, being professional filmmakers. And it's like, yo, it's 30 seconds, pimp. It's a short video.
Yeah, and to what
like, just
and
do
to
it.
what end? Yeah, I mean, if you want to be humbled or get great at everything that Doc just talked about, try creating shoppable videos for Amazon, because you know what people who are shopping on Amazon don't care at all about? Your studio background and how well produced anything is. You know what they do care about? Seeing as many as possible, because you get paid by the amount of times people have viewed your videos, and there's tons of them out there. And so it's a good, like, if you can force yourself to get into the habit of like just getting that one thought out there as down and dirty and as gritty as possible, get it out there. And then if you want to go back and reproduce that one piece of content into something that's a longer form or more heavily produced video, great. But you'll get a good understanding of which ones resonate with people and which don't if you just start cranking them out. So
I'm doing this series called Nice to Know, Nice to Have November. And it was basically, I just put myself to do 30 videos in November about things I wish I knew when I started or things I wish I had when I started. And it's fun, but it's a way to get my community to see, like, okay, I keep telling you guys to make videos, so I just want to show you guys, look, I'm going to just make videos, and they will not all be cute. Some of them will be cute, some of them won't, because my goal is to just get them done. And it's kind of fun because it makes me go back to the beginning and think about what I'm doing. So Val, if you want your challenge for 100 videos, just video all the stuff you got from Amazon in the last couple of months and just put them on Amazon.
It's humbling. Yeah,
just post them just as reviews.
Yeah. It's been that's been like the best. And again, like, I learn from the best. I like, Marielou, I hope you know that like your willingness to just be yourself on camera and to just be like, I don't know how this works. I'm just gonna, let's talk about it together. And like, no, but you laugh, but it does. It makes a huge difference. It's made a huge difference to me. I see Luis in the comments saying that it was inspirational to understand like how he could use B-roll and behind the scenes content better. Like if you want to make a difference, you've got to put yourself out there and say no to the voices in your head and just make the content. So I'm huge shout out to you, because I think you're probably best in class for doing this. I don't think I know anyone else who's just like, hey, we're hanging out. Like I love when I see your streams pop up, and often kind of just I'm watching there and I'm not even commenting. I'm just quietly lurking in the background while I'm working. But it's like things
we
that
better
even
stop talking
like,
spicy about work in there.
Stop talking spicy about work. You're not never saying anything.
Dude,
bad about
Marielou
me.
would be like this, y'all. She'd be like, listen, I want to talk to y'all today about Notion. And then, this new bass I got, this new bass is super translucent. I like the way it feels in my face. But anyway, so I'll tell you about the new Rode microphone, and I'll be like, girl, what are you doing? But she just kills it. And those videos are
Relatable.
so good. They're so good. And I love it. I almost made me wish I wear makeup.
You can, but nobody's stopping you.
You good?
I'm going to have to hit you up for some tips, John.
So on the point of the voices, okay, when I was in therapy, this was something that was like, it was a thing that held me back. I was like, there's something that just always tells me I'm trash, that I'm not good enough, that I shouldn't be doing it. Like, you should just give up. And like, still this voice creeps in sometimes.
Yep.
But a therapist had a really good exercise for me. And she was like, okay, so this voice, like, who do you think it is? Right. And so I told her who I thought it was because I was like, I know who this is. It's not me. Because she was like, you're really confident. She's like,
you're like, I know that woman and I do not like her.
She's like, I'm talking to you. And it's like, you seem very confident because I will. Like, I've always had them like, yeah, I know what I'm doing until this thing creeps in. So she was like, okay, who's somebody that whatever they say is trash? Like when you see, like in real life, right? It's like there's somebody in real life that you hear them talk and you're like, that's a lie. That's wrong. I assign that voice to that person. And now when that voice comes up, I was like, oh, no, like I can't listen to you. Like get out of here. We're busy.
That's really smart. Oh, I love that.
I learned it that way too, but I learned it to turn it into like a Simpsons voice or a cartoon's voice.
Oh, also good.
And it's the same thing, right? Like, so when you want to say something heinous to yourself, make sure you hear it in your head in like the car. Yo, this is Bart Simpson. And it's like, it doesn't work because it's too funny. You just start laughing at it.
And then another concept.
Then you look weird in the grocery store laughing by yourself.
Like another concept with the voice in your head, and then we can move on from there. But it's that if you can hear the voice, it's not you.
That's real. That's almost. That might be a game changer, which we say way too often around here, but that might be an actual game changer. Yeah, that's so true. That's crazy.
Yo.
I love that.
I think, hold on, wait a minute, back up.
I love when I can floor Doc. This is like my favorite.
Yo, say that and the people in the back, listen closely, listen again. All right,
if you can hear the voice, it's not you. The voice telling you you're not good enough.
I love it.
The voice that's saying, hey, don't do this. That's not you. If you can hear the voice, it's not you. You can make a decision, right? So it's like when you hear the voice and it's like, don't jump off the bridge, right? That's not necessarily bad advice, right? You still have to make a decision.
Yeah.
But if you hear the voice, it's not you. And then you can assign it to somebody else.
It's like your friend telling you to do something or your enemy telling you to do something. And so you just need to differentiate which of those voices is talking to you, the one that's going to do something beneficial for you or the one that's going to do something detrimental for you. Because I tell you something that this, Marielou, man, my mind is just mind flowing. Thank you, Saeed. Every time, okay, this is funny because dudes would know me and would know this to be true. Every time you ever did something stupid that got you injured, right before you did it, a little voice in your head was like, you shouldn't jump over this bush or jump out this truck or like, speed around this corner. You should slow down right now because the next couple corners, there's going to be a police. And then next, boom, or like, ow, my knee. And so when I tore my ACL, it was like, you don't have to prove to these people you can dunk. You know you can dunk. You should just go over there, just get your little girl and go on about your business. And I was like, nah, one more dunk. 360, boom, boom, ACL broken. Today, y'all got to lift me up out of chairs. So I heard that voice. That ain't none of these people's business about trying to show them that you can dunk. I can't dunk anymore.
And that's why we have to hold Doc going up the stairs.
You know,
I'm gonna take that. Man, that may need to be a sticky note on my wall over here. A reminder sticky note.
Mr. Luis, I hope you mark that because that is an actual clip. Oh, actually, Gretchen said it. That is an actual clip. But see, I want you guys to see something. We talk about doing this all the time on Creators Unstuck. And Jeff brought it up because Jeff is talking about repurposing at camp. But then Daniel B also brought up sometimes don't repurpose it, just say it again. And I always tell you guys this, if you have a moment, this is why I tell you pump the brakes and I make people repeat stuff because the repeat one is clippable because it's already been framed and you don't have to wait for the AI to try to find anything. So save yourself the hassle. If your guest says something really powerful, just make them repeat it.
Full screen.
It's already clippable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And on the point of clips,
all right.
Sorry, before we go on, is
no, go.
Even though Doc and I have a show together, we are still supporting each other as creators outside of the show we do together, which I think is very important when you are doing a podcast, if you have a co-host or even within the community. So like Doc's series that he's doing right now, I love it. And whenever I can find a piece to clip, I don't know if you saw this yet, but you said something about me and I clipped it out and did like a reaction video to it. Because I was like, oh yeah, just stuff like that because it creates a synergy. Because if you're co-hosts together in your show, you need to be co-hosts out beyond the show as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
that's huge.
And
yeah.
for you people, what I do is whenever I want to make a video, I don't want to sound like I'm talking to the sky. I don't want to be talking to myself. So I'll start the video with, hey, Marielou, this is what you need to do in order to get, your white balance proper. Or I'll say, hey, Katie, or hey, Luis. When I edit it, I'll cut that part out. But I explain, when I'm making the video, I'm explaining it to Katie, right? The videos that got me noticed by Ecamm was me answering questions in the Ecamm community. So I'd make a video specifically for Fulgens or Keith or Marshall or some, Bradley, whoever had a question. I would just answer the question in video format because y'all know I can't type. So that's literally how it started. And that makes it easier for me to sit down and feel comfortable, if you will, about making a video. Is because I'm talking to my friend. So I ain't worried about what nobody else got to say. What y'all got to say, none of my damn business. I'm talking to Marielou or Katie or Paul or whomever.
Now in my mind, I'm like, oh, that would be a really fun video where it was just like, hey, Marielou, hey, Katie, Louise just on loop all the different things, and then people jump in.
So actually, Katie, that's good. Next time we do a bunch of Ecamm tips for the next release, we should have our people make it for each other and then just make it like you're helping a friend and the other people are just eavesdropping. Because it does have a little flow to it. And I stole it from the Vlog Brothers. Hey, Hank. Hey, John.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly where I stole it from.
Exactly. All right. Well, we, as usual, we've flown through an entire hour, but I want to make sure that everyone understands where they can find Creators Unstuck, when you're on, how they can get involved. Give us all of the details.
Go ahead, Lou.
You can find us
take it
Creators
away.
Unstuck on YouTube, on Instagram, wherever you get your podcasts. And then you can follow on Doc's channel where we do the live taping on Tuesdays during his live stream.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop.
Like
and they're
I forgot the schedule.
Those
I
links
can do that right now.
are in Doc will be right back. All those links are down below in either the show notes or the YouTube description, depending on where you're watching or listening. So you can grab those. But thank you so much to you both. Huge thanks to Doc for allowing me to drive this show.
You were fantastic.
Man,
Finally, the host.
Good. Yeah, Katie knows how to drive the show by herself, dude. Look, it is so good. And what I'm the most happy about over the last year or so is number one, when we first started to do the flow, we were just going to do it as kind of a test and see what goes on. And actually, I adore the show. I hate when we go on a break, and we're about to go on our long winter break. I was telling Paul, it drives me crazy because I just like doing it. Right, it's a lot of fun. But also in the same vein, I have got to see the progression of Katie. And I've got to see the progression of Marielou. I've seen the progression of Luis as a producer. I've seen the progression of people in the comments who are doing their shows, who are knocking it out of the park, like Yolanda, like Valerie. Valerie has stepped up. She's teaching stuff now. Before, I had to fight with her to make 7 videos for Vlogmas, not the whole Vlogmas. And she in the parking lot in the snow at Walmart grocery, mad at me because I made her do this video. Now you can't get Val away from the camera. You know what I'm saying? So I might be a little rough around the edges, but trust me, I'm voting for you. I have your best ideas in mind, and I'm just trying to push you past you because sometimes we can be our own worst enemies. And I speak that from experience. I am definitely my own worst enemy.
Yeah.
So this was cool. I really enjoyed this. And Paul mentioned this before, so I'm going to go ahead and vote for it. We got to get us a couch and set it up in Outrider somewhere. And then we just going to have Creators Unstuck at camp. You just got to come to the couch, and we're going to refilm. Okay, Doc, English is not working. We're going to film all those episodes, and we'll just turn them into videos.
I love that. All right, it's on the list. Creator Camp 2025, October 1 through 4. If you've been following, you'll see we released dates for next year on the site.
Damn.
So ecamm.com/camp.
Katie and Paul ain't playing.
If you're a Flow Rider / Ecamm fam member, which I assume and hope you are, then hopefully you will join us for camp next time around. But I love Val says, I love the couch idea. Couches for the win.
Dude.
I'm now that I've spent all this time building out this minimalist studio, I'm like, what if I just get rid of my desk and have a sofa? What if I put all movies behind? I'm always messing around with things. Who knows? Who knows what I'll be up to? Well, thank you so much to you both for making the time, especially Marielou, because this is not her normal recording time.
I'm up. I'm ready.
Thank you for jumping in and hanging out. Yeah, she's always up and ready, which is great. If you haven't yet, she's been doing some really incredible videos for the Ecamm channel, all on like pro tips for Zoom and meetings and webinars and video in general. So there's some really great ones there. So keep an eye on this one. She's doing cool things. You don't want to be missing out on any of it.
Because she never stops making
Doc
videos.
too, I guess. Because she never stops making videos
No,
and
she
she's willing to
doesn't.
do them. I hate to even use ugly, but like, well, quote unquote ugly.
And that's really with the ugly ones, right? You do it more, you get better at you just get faster. That's it.
They become
Yeah.
less ugly. Yeah, exactly. They become faster.
That's the secret.
Exactly. Well, if you enjoyed this show, you can find us every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube. We are recording each episode live. If attending live isn't your thing, then you're probably in the wrong. No, just kidding. You can always listen or watch anytime you want. We are available on all the different podcast players as well as YouTube. You can get all the details over on our site, flow.ecamm.com. That's Ecamm, ECAMM.com. And we are brought to you by our friends at Captivate. They are our podcast host. There are other ones out there, but they're not as good as this one. This one really gives you all of the tools. And if you're a person like me and you love to fill in the blanks, this is like Mad Libs for podcasters. If you fill in all of the blanks, your podcast does well. So it's really, really easy, even if you know absolutely nothing about this, to have a successful podcast if you have a really good host. And our host is Captivate. You can learn more about them over at captivate.fm. And that is it for this week. But Doc says the final thing best, so I'm going to let him lead that one. Take us for the final make Aiden happy.
All right. This is definitely for nephew. But before, I want to remind you guys, we're going to do the floor. We're going to do the floor. We're going to record Critters Unstuck in about 15 minutes. I got a wee. You know what it is. I'm an old man. And then today, Marielou is teaching y'all how to use CapCut. So I'm telling you, she's doing live CapCut. That is sorry, Catherine Mulvihill. She's doing CapCut. We're not
cutting any cats.
Live on her show, because Kat did a live building on Notion this week. If you missed it, so go check that out. But anyway, Flow Riders, out.